Wagon.
Hi, Star. Dragon Wagon. Hi, Ari.
Morning, guys. Gremlins, kobolds, and Boka the slow bro.
The slow bro? How am I slow? I beat you all to stream this time. Your statement is error. Am I excited for Friday? I don't get to be home Friday. You don't understand. We're leaving early Wednesday, apparently. I mean, early Thursday, which wasn't told that. Friday, I will not be here. I don't even know what time we're gonna be home Saturday. But in response to this, I'm probably not going to let myself have any break for most of next year. Because it pisses me off that I'm having to do another, like, break day. Multiple break day. Like, I don't like doing that. And for those of you wondering, this is the wedding I was talking about a while ago. My cousin's getting married. And those of you wondering, no, Boka will never get married. Boka is too gremlin. Sorry. No one could handle me.
It's okay, the Path servers will probably get bricked Friday anyway, so go and enjoy yourself, Baka.
I'm only going for the food. The food tends to be good. It tends to be good. It tends to be good. It tends to be good. Alright, we're gonna watch this only because Lazar has constantly asked for it. Oh my god! Wow! What the hell? Some of these are savage. I thought this was the one where they were singing about his forehead. And, oh my god. I've seen the forehead one too many times. I've said I'm not, I don't, say what you will about KSI, but I don't like making fun of people. No matter, like if it's at my expense, I'm kind of okay with it, cause haha funny, make fun of the dragon. Well, to an extent. Like, sometimes you guys go a bit overboard, but I'm just... Oh yeah, that's right. Let us see... How do I get to my community tab?
Yes, this is a bully Boka only zone, Lamau.
Yeah. I'll bully anyone else, okay? Alright, looks like our winner this year is... I joke, because it's almost the end of the year. Guilliman. So we will be watching Guilliman. If Lockhon can grab that for me real quick. Why does everyone call this man Girly Man? Don't understand. Here is Guilliman. The Remembrancer. Alright, so this guy, by the Remembrancer, Guilliman, you voted for it. You applied your vote for the Emperor, and you decided. I'm not being cringe, you are.
Warrior who acts out of honor cannot fail. His duty is honor itself.
What I said.
Even his death, if it is honorable, is a reward and can be no failure. For it has come through duty. Seek honor as you act, therefore, and you will know no fear. The loyalist Primarchs are beloved by all subjects of his Imperium, though only some are venerated as true paragons of virtue. Their legacies enduring as symbols of sacrifice, honor, and...
Wait, was that a...
Enduring as symbols of... Though only...
That's so... Pale? I guess? Or white? Like, for lack of better term, I guess white, this is a white, salamander. I thought they were all supposed to be, like, shot black because of, like, they lived on a planet that basically caused their skin to become that. As, like, a defense mechanism. Like, their planet caused them to evolve to have that skin. That's weird. Interesting.
Some are venerated as true paragons of virtue. Their legacies enduring as symbols of...
I saw a lot of people in the comments for the vote. We're kind of sad that they got second place. Well, vote more, you packers.
Sacrifice.
I'm actually
honor,
interested in
and conquest. Yet there is one Primarch.
Something to do with the radiation of the sun. Mostly, it's just a rule of cool. I can get behind that. I'm really down with the rule of cool.
Whom epitomizes the Emperor's will.
This is the guy I'm interested about, because apparently some of the Primarchs are missing. They're not dead, they're missing.
More than any of his brothers. An empire builder, patrician statesman, and valiant warrior. A man of indomitable will, cold reason, and preternatural intelligence. Primarch of the 13th Legion, ROBOUTE GUILLIMAN.
ROBOUTE.
As the infant Primarchs were scattered amongst the stars, ROBOUTE GUILLIMAN would land on the planet of Macragge.
Let me know if it's
a robust civilization with its own laws and governing bodies, the young Primarch would be found by a group of noblemen within the sprawl of a hunting ground forest.
If we watch more TTS, we will run into
discovering a glowing capsule surrounded by an aura of light, the nobleman would bring the child to Connor Guilliman, one of 2 governing consuls whom ruled Macragge. With the arrival of the infant, Macragge's populace had reported several oddities and strange tidings that befell the planet. Connor himself had dreamt of the Emperor of mankind. In his dream, he walked to the foot of Hera's Fall, within the valley of Laponis. As he awoke from his slumber, the nobleman would bring the child to Connor. In light of the strange phenomena and his own visions, Connor would adopt the child, naming him ROBOUTE, translated from Macragge's dialect as Great One. With the help of Connor's seneschal, Tarasha Utin, ROBOUTE would grow into a wise and courageous man. At the age of 10, he had mastered the finer points of history, philosophical contemplations, and science, surpassing even the elders whom had mentored him.
Which this, basically, I'm understanding why this one's one of the best, because they just one, he grew up with a good life, and 2, he was tutored in all the subjects, so he's basically probably the smartest Primarch.
As a military commander, his strategic mind was unmatched. In light of this, Connor Guilliman would grant his son command of an expeditionary force that would venture into the Illyrian region of Macragge, a mountainous region to the north, the wilds of which were home to wild men, which harassed the city's populace. As the campaign waged,
do people hate him? Is that why he's called Girly Man? Or do they just think it's funny? I'm severely confused at this point.
Guilliman would occupy various shrines throughout the region, forcing the hand of the Illyrians to engage his forces on his terms, to which Guilliman would challenge their chieftain to single combat. Using only defensive blocks and parries, Guilliman would exhaust his opponent, and when the battle had ended, ROBOUTE would gift the chieftain with a prized relic that the people of Macragge's past had stolen. Preventing unnecessary losses of life, Guilliman's acumen would win over the wild men of the north, whom relented in their attacks on the populace of Macragge.
So basically, he's just that good. He basically, 1, completely eliminated any losses of life in the war, and made peace with them by going to war with them. He was basically like, yeah, I'd win. Oh, the top jock will always...
The people were safe,
okay,
and the Illyrians would never harm them again. Yet as ROBOUTE returned to his capital, he found his home and his people in a state of chaos. Connor's co-consul, Galen, had incited a coup to overthrow the Guillimans and seize control of Macragge for himself. Watching Galen's army sacking the city, ROBOUTE instructed his men to secure the capital, whilst he ventured to the House of Consuls and lifted the siege. On his arrival, he would find his adoptive father fatally injured, and with Connor's dying breath, he would tell his son of Galen's betrayal. ROBOUTE would reveal Galen's treachery to the assembled governing administrators, and amid a wave of support from the populace, would become the sole consul of Macragge. Now the most powerful man on Macragge, ROBOUTE would enact his father's vision to change it into a meritocratic government, and would purge the populace of the conspirators whom had followed Galen's orders. Unbeknownst to Robute, his true father, the Emperor of Mankind, had been observing his actions since the battles fought between his armies and the wild men of the Illyrian region. From the neighboring planet...
See, this is where I find disconnect. You're telling me the Emperor specifically watched him and made sure he was fine? And didn't take him away instantly?
Of Spandor, he would observe, but be impeded from contacting Macragge due to rampant warp storms which embroiled the system. 5 years would pass until the storms would subside, and the Emperor would venture to Macragge personally to meet his son.
Oh!
Within the lapse of time, Macragge now stood as a bountiful planet that was self-sufficient, prosperous, and equipped with both a strong military and abundant trade networks. Robute would bend his knee to join the Imperium. Impressed with his son's prowess as a ruler, the Emperor would relocate the 13th Legion's forward base to Macragge and give Guilliman command of his legion, now renamed the Ultramarines. As the Great Crusade waged, the Ultramarines would prove to be one of the most effective legions in bringing in planets under compliance. With exception to Horus Lupercal's Lunar Wolves, no other Adeptus Astartes legion would conquer as many worlds, as fast, and with such a rate of compliance.
I'm telling you, Lunar Wolves sounds like one of the coolest ones, but... So basically... That's pretty cool. So basically, Ultramarines and Lunar Wolves basically were the top dogs, I guess.
During the Crusade. With each conquered world, Guilliman would not leave until the planet's people had a robust means to defend themselves, technologically flourish, enact trade, and govern effectively within the Imperium. For Guilliman, the well-being of the world's people was of utmost importance. Macragge would be overhauled with the insight of Guilliman's hand-picked advisors, bolstering itself and its surrounding planet's military and enabling a constant flow of new recruits to join the Ultramarines Legion. Combined with the Legion's rare casualty rate due to Guilliman's tactical genius, the 13th Legion grew into the most numerically superior of all the Adeptus Astartes legions. The Emperor would value the Ultramarines' vast numbers and utilize them often as his personal hand of judgment, with his most infamous decision being to order Guilliman and the Ultramarines to accompany himself to confront Lorgar Aurelian, Primarch of the Word-Bearers, on the Imperium-compliant world of Monarchia. Used as a hammer blow to shame the 17th Legion, the Ultramarines would oversee the destruction of Monarchia. The idolatrous inhabitants led astray by Lorgar, the Emperor would purge the planet of worshipping his likeness, to which Guilliman would forever feel discomfort for his Legion's involvement, the result of which would lead to the Ultramarines' greatest betrayal. With the Horus Heresy making its crucial first steps, the War Master would command the Ultramarines to station their forces within the Viridian system at the planet of Calf. During a joint operation to build trust and cohesion between the Ultramarines and Word,
looks like we had a short steam crash.
God damn it! I'm so tired of this crashing.
Lorgar's men would launch a surprise attack and cause devastating losses to the 13th Legion. Lorgar would attempt to assassinate Guilliman with the use of demon forces and jettison Robute into space without a helmet. Guilliman would fight the Word-Bearers in the vacuum of space and reboard his ship. Commanding his men to counterattack Lorgar's forces, he would end the battle by confronting Cor Pharaon, the Dark Cardinal of the 17th Legion. Offering Robute to join the forces of Chaos, Robute would respond by ripping one of the
I mean, seriously, you tried to kill him. What's funny is, the first time I reacted, we had a disconnect, I stopped right here. And I was like, you tried to kill him like 4 times! In the span of like an hour, basically. And then you offered to let him join. I'd kill you! And of course,
Robute would respond by ripping one of the hearts from the first captain's chest. Reinstating the chapter's Librarius, Guilliman would return to Macragge with all haste, finding the planet under attack by Primarchs Lorgar and Angron of the World Eaters Legion, a battle that would be known as the Shadow Crusade. Joining forces with Sanguinius and his legion of Blood Angels, the Loyalist Astartes would engage the traitor forces, attempting to destroy the Ultramar system. Driving the traitors from Ultramar,
like, from what I understand, the Ultramarines basically cleaned up house for the most part. The only reason
Guilliman would pursue the Word Bearers and World Eater forces to the homeworld of Angron, Nuceria. As the three legions clashed, Guilliman would face Lorgar Aurelian in single combat. Observing his brother to be empowered by chaos, Guilliman would match his brother's attacks until Angron's intervention. As the two traitor Primarchs fought Guilliman, he would be overwhelmed.
like, he was able to fight two of his strongest brothers by himself. That's still pretty cool.
Before being cut down by the Red Angel, he would be saved by his valiant son.
And then his sons, his Ultramarines were like, nah, and took out all the other Marines, basically to save him. Like, they made the other Primarchs have to fight them.
Swarming the Primarch of the World Eaters as the Ultramarines retrieved their father,
have the highest success
tending
rate
to his
of all other
wounds.
Space Marine
From what I
chapters.
understand, I think the reason they have the highest success rate is because he's a tactical genius. He treats his men very well, so they're like super loyal.
To be fair, Lorgar is the bookworm of the Primarchs, so it was mostly Guilliman versus Angron.
Well, fair. But, he was empowered from chaos, it looked like. But, then there's the fact that, he also, I'm supposing he has his Ultramarines be taught too, so they're also the smartest Marines, so I feel like them being OP is a little overstated. I feel like, wait, at least disingenuous. It seems to me like, well, of course they'd win statistically more than all the other ones because they're the smartest and they're the most
Also,
loyal.
if the Orcs are to be
Guilliman and
believed,
his
the
legion
reason
would be
the
cut off from the
Ultramarines
wider
are so lucky is
Imperium.
the color of their armor.
Oh, and they got an entire race that makes things true, making them the luckiest legion. Good gracious.
by the Ruin Storm.
Okay, I guess they are a little OP. Let's just give them super luck as well.
Fearing that the Imperium had been lost, Robute would found the Imperium Secundus, creating a secondary empire
Let's make all of them protagonists.
to act as a contingency. Refusing the title of Emperor of this new Imperium, Robute would look to his brothers, whom had likewise been stranded by the Ruin Storm, naming his brother Sanguinius as Emperor's Regent. Imperium Secundus would be plagued by the actions of Conrad Kurz during its founding, orchestrating suicide bombings, terror attacks, and raids on Macragge's populace. With the intervention of Lionel Johnson and his Dark Angels Legion, Kurz would be brought to heel, though not without friction between the Primarchs and their methods of rooting out the Night Haunter. With Kurz captured, the three Primarchs would attempt to breach the Ruin Storm and aid in the defense of Holy Terror, due to the Night Haunter's visions, giving credence to the Emperor and his Imperium's continued survival. Venturing to the world of Davin, Robute, the Lion, and Sanguinius would attempt to uncover truths pertaining to Horus's betrayal from the
So basically, three most loyal sons basically are like, we're not gonna let this storm stop us. We don't care that it's supposed to be impossible to get through.
world with which his path of corruption had begun. Upon arriving on the planet, the Primarchs would discover the temple with which Horus's body had been claimed by Chaos. Sanguinius would be dragged through a warp-spawned portal, and demons would spill forth, preventing Guilliman and the Lion from aiding their brother. As Sanguinius bested the demon Medeal within the portal, the temple would collapse. The three Loyalist legions would evacuate Davin and destroy the demon-spawning planet with cyclonic torpedoes,
Whoa.
destroying the anchor point with which the demons traversed into the material realm. With the planet's destruction, a breach in the warp storm would appear, leading directly to Holy Terror.
Oh, I'm telling ya.
Yet Horus would foresee this development and send the Alpha Legion to blockade it. Guilliman and the Lion would distract the 20th Legion, while Sanguinius would traverse the breach, facing his destiny in the defense of Holy Terror. With his path to Terror lost, Guilliman and the Ultramarines would never reach its sacred soil during its time of greatest need. With all haste, Guilliman would travel to Terror and force Horus Lupercal's hand in ending the war by attempting to kill the Emperor. before the 13th Legion could add their might to the Loyalist defense. Arriving on Terra, Roboute would discover his father's wounded body interred on the Golden Throne. Absent from the final assault on the Imperial Palace, Roboute now commanded the most powerful legion within the Imperium. The Ultramarines spared the decimation endured by the other legions. Given the title of Lord Commander of the Imperium,
basically, the reason his is so prosperous is because, one, he basically had a planet dedicated to making super smart, super strong new boys, and they didn't get decimated because they fought back the bests.
Roboute would deploy his legion in the subsequent years to aid in the reclamation of planets enthralled by the forces of...
Well, that's the thing, though, is, Buckon, if you take all of lore into account, the reason they're protagonists is because of the story. It causes them to become like protagonists. So, like, you can't even say protagonist armor. Like, you can't even say that. Because if I'm to believe that an entire race believing in something caused two gods to exist and stuff like that, I can also believe them all believing that the Ultramarines' blue armor makes them super lucky. I'm supposed to believe that they're just super lucky now. Super lucky power just gets added to them. Plus they're the smartest. Plus they're the most, like, well-trained. Plus they're the loyalist. Like, they have a lot of respect for their commanders, so they're super loyal. You guys don't realize, but loyalty is a big factor in wars like that. So they have a lot going for them.
Chaos and rebellion.
They have a lot of, like,
would draft the
bonuses.
Codex Astartes and limit the size of the Loyalist legions to prevent any from following in the path of overwhelming might, first abused by Horus Lupercal and his traitorous brothers. Guilliman would also venture forth to bring his brother Primarchs, whom had betrayed the Imperium, to justice, killing Primarch Alfarius of the 20th Legion on the planet of Escrador, and eventually facing Fulgrim of the Emperor's Children during the Battle of Tessala. Facing the reborn Demon Prince, Guilliman would be greatly outmatched by his corrupted brother, resulting in him being mortally wounded by Fulgrim's poisoned blade. As the Demon Prince of Slanesh retreated into the Eye of Terror, Guilliman would fall into a coma, tended by his legion's apothecaries and interred inside a stasis field. For 10,000 years, Roboute Guilliman would lay dormant.
Like, I feel like the Tyranids, from what I understand, are so powerful that it makes sense that they would kind of still be hard to face, even with all the luck and stuff.
As the Imperium of Man corroded and fell to ruin as he slept, though one day he would awaken and avenge his Imperium. I am the fist, clenched tight in ceramite, smashing with the force of a legion. I am the blade, awaiting my foe's flesh, as keen as the Emperor could make me. I am the bolt, fired from afar, fleet.
What I'm wondering is, what is Guilliman's, like, power slash flaw, is what I'm told everyone has.
And true, an end to all who stand before the Imperium of Man. This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man.
Right.
Read.
Let's watch a little bit of the other one. Which one do I watch now? I want to watch a little bit of the next one. Is it the Avenging Sun? Right. We will watch a little bit of this. We'll watch up to Time of Rebirth. And then we'll watch the rest of it next time.
They shall be my sons, and in them will live the hopes of a united humanity. Theirs will be the strength to prevail, not only when victory lies within easy...
After this, I'm going to call the internet place I needed to call, because... Actually, I'm going to probably do it off to the side.
...reach, But even when it seems unattainable, when doom settles like a shroud over all, in those times of darkness, my noble sons will shine the brightest of all.
The Primarchs of his Imperium changed the skeins of fate irrevocably. Noble paragons and scheming tyrants, though the fate of each of the Emperor's sons diverged on paths of damnation, revelation, desecration, and salvation, one among all would be the torchbearer of a resurgent empire. For today, we shall continue our elucidation of a son of the Emperor, tasked with the monumental duty to provide sanctuary
Some of these guys look really cool, by the way.
and renewal for the ever-waning Imperium. The avenging son of Ultramar, ROBOUTE GUILLIMAN.
Guilliman.
In the wake of the Horus heresy, the Imperium lay in ruins. Untold billions had perished over the span of 7
Henry
solar
Cavill
cycles.
has been trying to make
The
a
traitor
cinematic
rebellion
universe
led by
of
Horus
Warhammer.
Lupercal
If he
culminating
succeeds,
during
do
the
you think
Siege
he
of
should
Terror.
play?
Waves upon waves of zealots, despots and tyrants hurled themselves against the walls of the Imperial Palace. The guns of valiant Imperial fists, white scars, blood angels, ragtag Astartes warbands, and millions of mortal soldiers stemming the tide of darkness. Yet the mightiest of all legions, the Ultramarines, were long distant from the fulcrum of humanity's destiny. Their ravaged numbers from the betrayal of Calth had been cut off from the wider Imperium due to the birth of the ruined.
So they're gonna go back over the heresy, then they're gonna start with everything that happened after. Okay.
Storm. Despite all haste being made to support the Loyalist war effort on Terra, the 13th arrived too late to prevent disaster. Sanguinius, Primarch and Great Angel of the 9th Legion, was
NGL
slain
with how
by the
Tucker looks
War
these
Master.
days. He
The
would make a
Emperor
damn
had
good live
purged the
action
champion
emperor
of
with a
chaos
tiny
from
bit of
existence
editing
with
to
a
make him
blast
look
of his
bigger.
immense
With how, yeah, because Taka's been exercising a lot, so Taka looks super slow now. Yeah, I could see it.
unrestrained psychic might, yet incurred a mortal wound from the talon of Horus. Rogel Dawn's expertise as a guardian of humanity had been tested to their limits. The bravery of the Great Khan, Jagatai, nearly
He's a con? Weird.
costing him his life, and those that survived of the Defenders of Terror tasted a victory so bitter, many questioned if defeat would have been preferable.
No. You don't understand. Even if a defeat that's hard won is still a win that's hard fought is still a win. Whereas a defeat that is hard fought is a devastating defeat. Like, you could have lost way harder. You could have lost a way more if you lost. But because you won, you only lost as much as you did.
Upon the debris of a fallen empire, the corpses of many a valiant soul littered the soil of the throne world. The Dark Angels and Vilka Fenrika arrived soon after.
They said Vilka Fenrir, and it says Space Wolves below.
Their hunger for retribution denied as the flames of war ebbed with the full retreat of the traitors. Dawn was inconsolable in his failure to protect the Emperor. The Blood Angels languished at the loss of their noble liege, the Wolf King of Fenris and Lion of Caliban, screaming oaths of vengeance against their hated foes. Only one man could organize these crestfallen demigods and renew them with purpose. ROBOUTE GUILLIMAN, Primarch of the Ultramarines, stood tall and refused to give in to despair. His duty to preserve the Imperium and enact reprisal against its aggressors unbreakable. Sating his brother's appetite for a reckoning, Guilliman assumed command of the Lords of Terror, and once entrusted with the title of Lord Commander of the Imperium, enacted the Great Scouring. Many worlds remained in the clutches of chaos influence, yet every legion had incurred losses of thousands of their kinsmen.
Though a shadow of their former might, the Ultramarines remain the single largest fighting force of the Legiones Astartes by a large margin, and as such, were honor-bound to fight at the vanguard of the Loyalist reprisal. The resource-rich eastern realm of Ultramar dispatched supplies, warriors and aid alongside the influence of Terror's domain. Decades passed until order was restored, each Loyalist legion driving the disparate traitor warbands into the Eye of Terror and dark corners of the void.
Basically, the Loyalist legions went back to the darkness whence you came, kinda.
Yet such vast military power had proven catastrophic to the safety of humanity, and with their duty to contain the spread of chaos complete, ROBOUTE Guilliman devised a means to prevent such calamity from ever repeating itself. Guilliman held within his grasp the single largest fighting force remaining to the Imperium. His legion alone comprised half of the remaining Astartes loyal to humanity, and in his own way, held authority and power in reflection of his fallen brother, Horus. Knowing in his heart that such power could not be entrusted to a single man, no matter their station nor intention, Guilliman devised a means to prevent such power falling into hands unable to bear such burdens. Transcribing a tome outlining the new conventions to be adopted by the Space Marines, the Codex Astartes, every legion, no matter their size, must reorganize their remaining strength into smaller chapters. Each autonomous band of the newly founded Adeptus Astartes could not bring to bear strength in excess of 1,000 Space Marines, for to hold such power threatened to embolden future autocrats who lacked wisdom and humility. Further doctrines within the Codex outline preferred methods of waging.
That's actually really smart. Basically, split up all the forces and stuff, so literally just the Primarchs have overseeing power. No one, like, leader of these, like, chapters will be able to, like, rebel. Like, it would have to be multiple of the chapters. So it wouldn't be just one guy, basically. As long as, like, there was enough intelligent people.
War, and even micromanagement of ranking structure. Though several Primarchs balked at such limitations, none dared to declare themselves exempt from vice. 7 years following the end of the heresy, the Adeptus Astartes took to the stars. Most legions capable of dividing into as few as 5 chapters, the Ultramarines sired as many as 23 successors. Entrusting fiefdom worlds, armaments and supplies to each chapter, led by heroic veterans of the Civil War.
And also, another reason, like, that kinda lends credence to them being as strong as they are is the fact that they had so many left over. So, typically they have more chapters helping each fight.
Each army of the Adeptus Astartes began their journeys to eke out legacies anew. Yet ROBOUTE Guilliman's work was not complete, for traitors still skulked within the midst of the Imperium's domain, and so it was that the Lord of Ultramar ventured to the world of Escrador. Facing the Alpha Legion, led by their Primarch, Alfarius. Though it is claimed the Lord of Serpents fell at the hands of the Primarch of the 6th Legion, Rogel Dawn, another claimant of his stature, dueled the Lord of Ultramar. Slaying Alfarius in single combat, none can claim to know the veracity of whether such an individual truly was the Primarch of the 20th, for his head has been claimed many times, and the multi-headed Hydra has legion to spare.
That's funny. Basically the Snake Legion, like, head, no one knows that the head's actually been cut off, because let's basically make him like Orochi Yamata no Orochi, the infinite-headed snake, the 7-headed
Bloodied
snake.
from their engagement with the Alpha Legion, Guilliman realized the need for contingents should he fall in battle, which must be put into place. Collaborating with Archmagos Belisarius Call of the Mechanicus,
Yeah, basically.
the Lord Commander charged Belisarius with 2 responsibilities of paramount import. First, he must develop a means to revive him should he fall, for it was no act of vanity to surmise that his death could never be replaced and was crucial in preserving the Imperium. Second, a new breed of warriors were needed to combat the threats of chaos and their malevolent benefactors, for never in the history of the wars of the Imperium had a foe this dangerous inflicted such wounds upon humanity.
Let me try to guess. Are they the reason more Psychers appeared?
Such foresight proved fortuitous, for the next Primarch Guilliman faced proved to be a far deadlier foe. Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, lurked within orbit of the world of Fissala, and during 121.M31, the Ultramarines chapter and their successors sought to purge his influence once and for all. Transcended into the form of a demon prince, the Lord of Ultramar fought bravely against his many-limbed foe, yet could not hope to match the martial skill of this abominable duelist.
So literally the only reason he could fight Guilliman is he was a gigantic surfeit guy now.
Wounded by a poisoned blade as it bit into his neck, Guilliman collapsed as the venom of its edge coursed through his veins. Rescued by the captain of the Second Company, Aeonid Fiel, the Ultramarines retreated from the battle and interred Guilliman's body within a stasis field in order to prevent his inevitable death. For 10,000 years, ROBOUTE Guilliman sat immobile, entombed within a shrine to his grandeur inside the Temple of Correction.
I love that his place is called the Temple of Correction. But yeah, we're gonna end there. We'll watch more next time. I think he's interesting. I kind of like this guy. Do they have any dragons? Or angels? Do they? Oh, wait a minute. Reopen. Did I not like the other one? Need to like the other one, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give this guy a subscribe. I like his videos. Angels, yes. Okay. Am I allowed to mix parties? Because if I can, I'm gonna have a lot of dragons and angels.
The Salamanders are basically the Dragons chapter of Space Marines. Check out their Primarch Vulcan.
We might. We have votes. We'll have another vote go up on Primarchs after Christmas. Might be before Christmas if enough people like the video. Definitely. But I will say, of the two Primarchs, I think I kind of like Guilliman a little more than Angron. If only because, like, I love the fact that, one, the Orc boys think he's just super lucky. So he is super lucky. Literally, he has the luck buff. And because instead of just, like, making him a super war-hungry one, they made him a smart character. So, literally, he's the strongest because he's the most intelligent. And I love that. I have a feeling no one will ever let me play what I'm wanting to play. Which is just all the angels and dragons, that's it. And maybe, like, one salamander or one... But, in terms of favorite chapter so far, everything I've heard about the Custodes makes me like them the most. But I do like Ultramarines, and I do like Salamanders. Well, no, lock on. Tactical intelligence is still intelligence, and apparently he's just very technically gifted. Like, it may not equal to him being the smartest, but he's probably smarter than the rest of them in tactician. Like, I would be surprised if he wasn't, because he's called the tactical genius and stuff. And I'm assuming most of his, like, people that he has in command, he teaches, so they're tactical geniuses. They're tactically inclined as well. But technically, his whole, like, thing would be the smartest of the group.